All right, thanks everybody for coming. We had a busy weekend this weekend. It's the holiday season, so you can imagine our counterattack roadblocks were out. We had Prince live in concert. That was very busy for our officers, with thousands of people coming downtown. So it was pretty busy. So we do have 2 suspects at large in weekend robberies. So we're actively investigating 2 personal robberies that occurred this weekend in Esquimalt and Vic West. One of the robberies occurred on the 200 block of Robert Street, and the other robbery was near the Tillicum-Craigflower intersection. The first robbery occurred Thursday afternoon. A 27-year-old Colwood man was robbed at knife point near Rainbow Park in the 200 block of Robert Street. The victim was on the walkway when 3 suspects jumped in front of him and blocked his path. One of the suspects produced a large knife and demanded the backpack that the man was carrying. The other 2 suspects circled around to block his escape. The backpack was ripped from his shoulders, and all 3 suspects ran from the scene. Officers were quick on scene along with a canine unit, but they were unable to locate any of the suspects. All 3 of the suspects were described as white men between the ages of 23 to 27 years old and all around 6 feet in height. They were all wearing black toques at the time of the robbery. The second robbery occurred Sunday night at about 11 p.m. by the intersection of Tillicum Road and Craigflower Road. A 19-year-old Saanich man was robbed of his iPod and headphones. The victim was at the bus stop with his friend when he was approached by the lone suspect. The suspect struck up a conversation and then threatened the man with violence unless he surrendered his iPod and headphones. The suspect fled the area. The suspect in this case is described as a native man, approximately 18 to 23 years old, 6'2" with a slim build, and he was clean shaven. He had brown eyes and was wearing a brown hoodie and gray sweatpants at the time of the robbery. If anybody does have any information concerning these robberies, please contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS, which is 8477.
How old was the man at Rainbow Park?
The victim? 27-year-old Colwood man.
Do you think he was targeted? It seems like quite an operation, one guy with a knife and 2 to hit him off.
It's too early to say. We don't have any information on who the suspects were. We can't really tell if there's any relation. He didn't seem to recognize them at the time, so.
And that was the only kind of report of 3 guys in a mouth.
Yeah.
Do you have more personal robberies? I mean, you heard about that old woman who's not at this time of the year, and what does that say about the desperation of people trying to?
Well, I don't know what the stats are, but it certainly does seem that in the last couple of weeks we've had a few. So it does speak to the time of year. Some people feeling that desperation, the holiday pinch, right? So I don't know the exact stats, though, so I'd have to take a look. All right, the next one. There's a stabbing at View Towers. So VicPD is investigating stabbing that occurred at View Towers at Saturday night. And we're asking for the public's help in providing any suspect information. The stabbing occurred Saturday night, just after 9 p.m. And the attending officers located the victim in the parking lot. He was suffering multiple stab wounds in the head and the hands. The 25-year-old Victoria man was uncooperative with police, and we did not know exactly where the stabbing occurred, and we don't have any suspect information at this time. The victim is known to us. The stabbing victim was treated by paramedics and taken to the hospital. If anyone does have any information about the stabbing that occurred at View Towers on Saturday night, they're asked to contact the VicPD non-emergency line at 250-995-7654 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS, 8477.
And has the victim been released from the hospital?
I believe so.
And I guess did somebody else call 911, seeing the guy?
Yes.
This guy's a resident of View Towers?
I don't know.
You believe the incident occurred in the parking lot? He didn't?
Pretty sure it'd be in and around the area. I don't know if it's exactly going to be in the parking lot, but...
It wasn't in the building and he then ran outside or something?
Don't know. Yeah, we're still looking for that information, right?
Were there witnesses?
Not that we know of. So we're asking anybody that might have seen it to certainly call us. Okay, this is a story that garnered a lot of media attention and social media conversation this summer. VicPD is now issuing a warrant for the Busker assault suspect. Shane Michael Daly, a 23-year-old Langford man, is wanted by VicPD. He is wanted for the assault of a popular downtown busker that occurred back in June of this year. Daly is wanted for assault and for mischief, and a warrant has been issued for his arrest. The assault occurred on June 11th, when Daly tackled the well-known street performer to the ground without warning or provocation. The attack occurred near the intersection of Government and Wharf Streets. The busker suffered minor injuries, but also had his violin broken. VicPD was able to identify Daly as the culprit with the assistance from the public. There was significant interest from the online community via Twitter and YouTube, and we applaud our followers for assisting in this investigation. So right now we don't know the motive of the attack. We haven't been able to speak to Mr. Daly. But this case certainly highlights that our detectives remain diligent and committed to the investigation.
How's Daly spelled?
D-A-I-L-E-Y. So if there's anyone with the information about the whereabouts of Mr. Daly, they're asked to contact Detective Laurie Bouvet at 250-995-7256 or Crime Stoppers.
And sorry, did you give an age on this guy?
23-year-old Langford man.
Langford?
Yes.
Okay. So do you know whether he's been, like, this is sort of his home, or is he a transient person?
No, we believe that it's his home, but there is a time delay, between getting, but the detectives have been working on the case since it happened, so certainly shows that even something that could be considered minor by some people, our detectives still take very seriously.
And is there a possibility that he doesn't even realize there's a warrant out for his arrest?
I'm unsure if he knows or not.
And what can you tell us about this aspect of social media and how you assisted?
Well, it certainly was an interesting story in that when we put it out on social media, we actually had it at one of our Monday morning press conferences, and it garnered some attention, but once it went out to social media, a lot of people became interested in it and certainly offered to help the busker. Became such a story that actually Larson Music donated a new violin and violin bow to him as a result of all the conversations that were had on there. So we certainly did get a lot of tips from the public in relation to that, and very pleased with the way it went.
So does that mean one of the tips panned out, or at least one of the tips?
Yeah, the information that our officers received from the public was integral in getting this case to where it is now.
And can you say how recent the tip or information is that has led to this
I
warrant?
don't know. I don't know when that came in.
When was the warrant issued?
It was last week, I believe, is when Crown swore charges. Or swore the warrant.
That's an unusual spell. You did say Daly, not Bailey.
Daily.
Daly with a D.
Yes.
Is he known to police?
I don't believe so. I'd have to check for you, but I don't think he's got an extensive history or anything.
Sorry, but this one, obviously we got some information from the public, and that's great, but like you said, it did have a lot of play at the time. Is it somewhat surprising or maybe disconcerting that this guy lives as close as Langford, and I know all our TV stations and every, media outlet and the Times Colonist all covered it, and there was video of this guy, and clearly somebody who knows him, or a couple of people must have seen it but not come forward at that time.
Well, there was even those two people who were alleged to be around him at the time of the incident. It's disappointing that those people didn't come forward. But I think the story here is that, somebody did come forward with information. They did assist our investigators, and we're now at the stage where we're able to get that warrant approved by Crown. So we're certainly thankful for that information.
Was it just one tip, or was there more than?
I don't know. All right. The last one I have for today is 14 drug dealers were busted in the latest Pandora crackdown. 14 people are facing charges now for drug trafficking after the latest crackdown by Victoria Police Department's focused enforcement team and Strike Force team happened on Pandora Avenue. The Project November Rain focused on drug dealing in the 900 block of Pandora Avenue. It was initiated in response to community concerns about open-air drug dealing in the area. The undercover operators purchased cocaine and heroin over a 3-day period, November 15th to 18th. The warrants were recently issued, and police have already arrested 12 people. 2 people remain outstanding. Typically, the focused enforcement team does conduct similar drug crackdown projects 2 or 3 times a year. So remember back in May, I think it was May 22nd, we had Project Cinco de Mayo. Or sorry, it wasn't May 22nd, but in May we arrested 22 drug dealers under Project Cinco de Mayo. So these projects are just one small way that the focused enforcement team does deal with the open-air drug market. And it does certainly lead to a decrease in crime in the Pandora area.
Does the focused enforcement team or anyone at VicPD keep stats on how many who have been arrested in November were the same ones who were arrested in May?
I'd have to look into it, but I know we'd be able to find that out.
I would like to see if you can provide.
Maybe 2.
Yeah, I don't think there's many, if any, but I'd have to look for that, but no problem. It wouldn't be too bad.
Was it men and women?
Both men and women.
And we'll send out the full list of names.
I would assume this kind of operation takes a bit of prep time. It says it was prompted by community concern. Any idea when we started to hear the community bringing forward renewed concerns about open-air drug dealing?
Well, I know they often liaise very heavily with our beat and bike officers that are down there. So I don't know if there was a specific concern or a specific time, but the time was right in the opinion of those officers to do another operation. You know, May, so November, I guess that's what, 5-6 months. So certainly time to get out there and do it again.
For the cocaine and heroin, is that the most prevalent type of drug that's sold in that area?
Yeah, certainly is on the street right now.
And these are just like guys dealing on the street, right?
Yeah, that's what this is. It's mostly the street-level dealers, the ones that, you know, stand in front of open door and are preying on those who are trying to get the services and trying to access the help. So these people are certainly the block in the way of what they're trying to do, right?
And you guys bought drugs at all times of day or just after dark or?
No, when we do the undercover operations, it totally depends on when our operators can get out there and when we can do it. We do it day and night, though.
So there is drug dealing going on 24/7?
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't stop. It's like 7-Eleven.
So when you arrest a group like you did in May,
Yep.
and something like this one, do like new ones just sort of fill that void?
Sometimes. We do see ones that come up and try to fill that void. Doing these projects, it doesn't really, you know, shut down the open-air drug market. But what it really does is sends that message that we do know who you are, and we are out here, and we're watching what you do.
Do you have anything more on, you know, the cyclist and the dump truck? Any charges being held?
I don't have any updates, no. I'd have to check with our crash analysts. I think they're back in tomorrow.
How long does that lull usually last for, like once you've netted a whole bunch of alleged criminals or drug traffickers, and then do you just sort of see a clean area for a few weeks, or?
It depends, project by project, you know, who we arrest and how many we arrest. Depends if we're getting the higher echelons of that street-level drug trade or not. But so it really does vary on how much time we see.
Are there any further updates on whether Victoria Police are working with, you know, the Toronto Police Services on this, you know, alleged child abduction case, the domestic?
I don't have any updates on that, no.
Or, can I get in touch, or can you find out whether they're still kind of working on the case?
Well, if they're asking us to work on it, then I'd know about it, and we haven't been asked right now.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I don't have anything. But if we do, I'll let you know.
Okay. There was some talk that perhaps some people who had aided her might also be charged. So again, my assumption is they would possibly be in the Victoria area. So.
But most things like that, if it's associated to that abduction file, that would be, we would assist, but it would be Toronto's
Right.
file still to speak to. Yeah.
There was some, we're on to other things now. We've exhausted the...
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Fire away, Frank.
There was some speculation in recent weeks about a renewed provincial commitment to Con Air.
Okay.
Any movement on that at all? Anything crystallizing?
I have to talk to the provincial government. It's not my thing.
You haven't received a check, for instance.
No.
We know about that.
What about, you were also talking to the province early this year about trying to do some things to alleviate crowding in the jail, having to act as a provincial remand center in some cases. Is that going anywhere, or?
I don't know, Frank. I'd have to check for you. I haven't heard anything about that, so.
And sorry, Frank asking about the Con Air thing. Where are you guys at with Con Air? Are we down to like the last pennies in the fund? Or?
Yeah, I think we are down to the last pennies in the fund. I know there is the Fugitive Return Program, which is RCMP, but I don't know how that plays in with the provincial government. But we did just recently assist Souk in sending back somebody, but that was more their file than ours.
You mentioned it was a busy weekend for people downtown and stuff with the Prince concert and whatnot.
Yes.
Did you have to, was the drum tank full or any more than usual, you know?
No, it was actually, you can imagine with the Prince concert, it's not quite the clientele of, when 5,000 people come down, we have too many problems. So it was pretty good. There was the after party at Sugar Nightclub. We did liaise with them because apparently the after party started a lot later than it was supposed to. So they were allowed to stay open for an extra hour and continue that party. But other than that, I don't think there was issues with any of that stuff.
Prince fans are all in their 50s now, are they?
Oh, God. I know it's hard to do.
I don't ever say it, Frank, but no comment.
You can't run very fast.
All right. Thank you all.